Hello, Kyle's Garage viewers, and welcome back to another episode. On this one, I wanted to change gears a little bit, and I was going to show you guys the Focus and go for a drive in that, but it just did not go as planned on my end, and I ended up having to do a whole bunch of crap, and now here's the intake. So, I'll explain more. This is going to be a discussion type video, so if you're a Ford Focus, especially Zetec fan or have a Zetec, you might want to stick around. We're going to be getting into it. At least some issues that I had with this intake and specifically the EGR. Enjoy the video. So it's hard to know where to begin when talking about this Focus. Alright, so working on the Focus. I was not expecting to actually film. I just wanted to get the car running real quick because it had like an idling problem, It ran okay, but it had an idling problem. It would die and that. Whatever. So I'm going through and checking the vitals. Yeah, I need spark plugs in that, but it shouldn't be causing the problems I'm having. Run the codes. Idle air control valve. Cool. Easy enough. Put an idle air control valve in it. And the problem still was pretty persistent. It cleared up a lot of problems, though. It worked a lot better with the idle air control valve in there. But it was still an issue. I tried to drive it around, and when I would go to shift, the RPMs would rise when my foot wasn't even on the accelerator and then drop back down. Like the idle air control was trying, but not doing real good. And the car was kind of surgy around idle, and even when you're cruising, it would just be kind of surgy and weird. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's got a vacuum leak somewhere. Come back, run the codes again. Idle air control valve code gone. Lean run code. So yeah, I'm thinking definitely vacuum leak, getting too much air, unmetered, lean run code. Great, awesome. So here I go with the brake clean around the intake looking for vacuum leaks. And when I was spraying around looking for vacuum leaks, this is the intake. I did not anticipate going this far with it. Anyway, let me tell you where I'm at and why the heck I took the whole intake off to find an intake leak. And I know for a fact that it wasn't the intake runner gaskets, because I sprayed all along here and it was not leaking. So what the heck? So I start spraying, down in here, because if we were to look at it in the car, it would be standing up like this. So I can't see very good in it. But anyways, if I lay it down, you can get a much better visualization. So I'm glad that I have it off right now. This right here might look familiar to some of you. This is a block, those little expansion plugs for if your block were to freeze up and it'd pop out. And that's one of those quick rubber ones. Well, I found out that fits perfect where the EGR is, because the EGR was leaking ever so slightly around this ring, I think. But anyways, let me show you more about the EGR and how stupid it is. And let me rephrase it. It's not stupid. EGRs are very smart. What they essentially do, got this little guy too. This is the actual EGR valve right here. And on the bottom, that is where the emission or the exhaust would go into, and it basically just opens up that valve when you're cruising, and it allows some of the exhaust flow to go back into the intake, which would be this hole right here, and be reburnt. And what this does is it A, less pollution, and B, it does create a small bit of fuel economy increase around cruising. At wide open throttle, this actually turns off completely, so you don't get any EGR flow at full throttle. So I won't notice any performance increase, but I will probably notice a small drop in fuel economy. Okay, I normally would not delete a system like this because I think it's a good idea, but I'm deleting it because it's stupid on this car. Okay, let's talk about it. Some of you have already probably clicked away of the video after I said let's talk about it, and I'm talking about an EGR and how, whatever. I want to tell about this, and I'm sure there's Focus people out there, and I know that I have some Focus subscribers. So this is the EGR where it goes into that hole right there. It went in just like that, into the hole. Obviously, I have it blocked off now. I didn't film that. I'm sorry, but I was pretty frustrated by the time I did that. That is a 1 1/4 inch expansion plug, or whatever you want to call it, if you want to do this to your own Focus. I don't know how far this is going to go, but I'm going to show you a lot of things on how my job will be easier. Anyways, back to the stupidity. Okay, so this is a like special O-ring. Oh no, my other O-rings. Dadgummit. Back to the task at hand. This is, it might be incredibly difficult to see. If I might have to take a picture of it or a video with my phone, so it'll be a little more higher quality. But there's a small ID groove in there, and it grips onto this little flange right here. Okay, so in there, it gets the O-ring onto here. Okay. So there's the seal thingy on that little thing like it's supposed to, and then you have this collar. And this larger diameter was where this collar went. Well, it might be really hard to see this, but those are really fine threads, like extremely fine, and this is some kind of copper or brass or something. Or I mean brass, it's probably brass. But anyways, really stupidly, there is no threads on this of any variety. So literally it was kind of, there is a small taper to the threads, and yeah, it must like pressure fit in there and then tighten up. I have no idea. They must have had some kind of crazy special tool to get that on originally from the factory. I do not suggest taking it apart or you're screwed, because that thing is a pain in the neck to get back in there. I could not get it at all. Problem 2 is this EGR, there's some corrosion in the threads, and it was on to, let's go over to the car. All right, we're over at the car, and that's probably terrible for the lighting. All right, anyway, over at the car, down here, this is the EGR pipe that comes from the exhaust manifold, and this is where the EGR, was on there, and a total pain in the neck to get off. So I don't even want to put it back on. So, which arises another question and another problem. Now what do I do with this? Because now this is going to be shooting hot exhaust gases straight up in the air, causing all kinds of problems. So, we follow the EGR all the way to the exhaust manifold, which is nice and rusty. Look at that rust, ladies and gentlemen. Oh dear. Why do me and rust? We don't get along, but we get along so well. Here is going to be my fix. Let's go check it out. All right. A box of, I've been saving this piece for a very long time. I did not anticipate that it would come in handy like this though. Mk1 Focus header in the garage. Probably should have warned you guys. This is going to be something that has probably never happened on the channel ever. There's something shiny and brand new. Oh, it's got rust on it already because it sat forever. Son of a biscuit. Yeah, there we go. There's the O2 port. I like how it only feeds off of one cylinder. That's pretty cool. That should work pretty terrible, I'm sure of it. Oh well, I guess that works. I don't know how race cars do it, if race cars do it like that. Yeah, not too bad. It's a cheapo header, kinda, for the most part. But anyway, here's what I really wanted to show you about it. On the back side, that's the EGR port, and it looks like it has like a really common thread. If I can just find something that caps on, maybe that box has a cap in it. I don't know. I've actually not checked out this kit in like, it's been sitting for like a year and a half or 2 years, so I don't even remember what's in the box. Got a few different downpipes, new exhaust manifold gasket, and some hardware taped to the bottom of the box. Does it have a plug for the thing? That would be great. If not, I'm gonna have to find a plug. Ooh, they gave me a sticker. I don't think that thing has a plug in the kit. Here's a pretty cool thing. I think that's just so you can make your own something. All right, and there's that downpipe. That's pretty nice. That's a pretty nice piece. Those welds are far better than my welds. But yeah, that is gonna be, wow, they actually like sanded the inside. Wow, it's pretty decent. Pretty decent. That should connect up to the rest of the exhaust really well. And on this car, it technically has a 2.5-inch Borla setup, but I cut the Borla muffler out of it, which some people would consider a downgrade because I put a massive fart can on it. And people hate and talk all the crap they want about it, but it's period correct to the car, and I like it, so yeah. So that is the basic gist. And it looks like the only thing that I'm really gonna have to do is find a plug for this EGR port, or I can weld something on here. But this is all stainless, and I'd rather, you know, not do that. I'd rather find a plug. Oh, and you remember how I said that, well, maybe I didn't say it. I have no idea. I felt like I've said it a million times. Every single time I work on that car right there, it always goes wrong. Even if it's something that I am so normal on changing, something goes wrong. These first generation Focuses, especially this one being a 2000, was the first full year for Focuses in America. Had a lot of problems, let me tell you what. And I've gone through the gambit of the problems, but slowly knocking out the problems. I really want to wait to reveal all the things on this car until after it runs and we can actually go drive the freaking thing so I can talk about it and show you, and it'll be a much more entertaining video, because right now it's me talking and not even working on this stinking thing. Matter of fact, I've even done work off the camera, which it was actually pretty boring, and you know, nobody would watch that crap anyway. Well, now that I've, you know, spilled my O-rings and we talked about the stupid EGR, let's talk about why. Oh, precisely my point. Every time I work on this car, something breaks. And this is on the very front of the engine. This isn't even on the intake side. This is on the exhaust side where this oil dipstick freaking thing goes in. All I was trying to do was check the oil, and pop, off goes the oil dipstick. Dadgummit. So I had to pull the dipstick tube, and that wasn't even very easy. I popped the O-ring off already. That's why I have those O-rings. Now I gotta find it again. But anyways, yeah, that was the only way for me to really get at it a good way. I was like, oh, I'll just pull the dipstick tube. That's not that hard. Yeah, that was a pain in the neck. It was rusted in so good with grime and whatever else. I had to pull with all my might, and then when it let go, I busted my knuckles, of course, and off I flew backwards, you know, off the front of the car. But anyways, there's that. And another thing to fully validate everything going wrong every time I touch this freaking car. Idle air control valve. That's what this is here. Pretty interesting little piece. It helps your car idle. It's a pretty cool little piece. You kind of need that. Well, you don't really necessarily need it, but it is very nice if you want to drive your car, you know, like a normal car. And okay, if you notice, there's like these O-ring grooves. Well, when I ordered the new, this is what they gave me. When this is on here, it's very difficult to see. I mean, it lines up great. Everything lines up, sure. But the problem is there's this little tiny opening right here, a little tab. So air was getting in there and causing a freaking vacuum leak anyway. So I don't even think my EGR originally was bad. I just did all this and now I've screwed myself. So this is where we're at. Anyway, here is the original Ford gasket, and it drops in there just so nicely, just like that. And it's raised up just a tad, so I'm hoping, reusing this gasket, everything will be fine. If not, I can always put this on here for a double measure and hope that it seals up. But yeah, so silly, Ford. So silly in the early 2000s. So, I have parts coming to fix this thing up a little bit and try to get it actually running so you guys can see it run. And of course it's going to have a header be put on it, so there's going to be a video putting the header on it and completing the EGR delete, you know, because it's kind of, there's not a lot out there. There's like some forums and stuff talking about EGR delete, and there's a lot simpler options like just a block off plate. And well, since I went too far, you know where I'm at, I had to go this way. So, you know, just in case, this might help somebody. I don't know. I hope it helps somebody out there, or somebody has got questions on an EGR delete on their Zetec Focus. We're going to get into it. I'm halfway through the job, waiting on some parts. So probably in the meantime, I'm going to end up cleaning up the engine compartment any way I can just to clean it up, just 'cause it's disgusting. The car's been sitting, it's got 250,000 miles on it, you know. Anyways, guys, you'll see that coming up. Take care. I'll see you next time.